Okay, I'm going to mind map my evaluation that I did on Snapchat, ticker symbol SNAP, Snap. Um, First thing I do when I was looking at Snapchat was trying to understand what their value proposition, what makes this company tick, and what does this company offer that's unique in terms of their product or services. So when you look at Snapchat, what they ultimately offer is, when you look at it, it's essentially it's a messaging app. And what's unique by it is it's really exclusively video oriented, in that you take pictures and videos of something yourself and you send it to your friends, and they look at it and send stuff back and forth. So you're messaging more from a video component. But the interesting thing about what makes Snapchat unique is, in a sense, the video deletes after you watch the video. It's deleted. It doesn't stay on the servers, or there's no record of it. It's gone forever. And so for people, I guess, who are kind of the underbelly of society, this is a great thing. Its unique value proposition is just deleting the evidence. So that's kind of the main claim to fame for Snapchat. Now, who are the competitors? Are there any other kind of messaging services out there? Well, there are tons of them, and I'm just going to list a few of them. So you got Facebook, the whole Facebook Instagram kind of concept. You've got Twitter. They have a messaging type service. Then you got some old school stuff like MSN. You got BlackBerry. You have Kick, and then you got WhatsApp. So there are a lot. Snapchat is swimming in a pool with a lot of competition out there. So who are the customers? Who are their users? Who goes on Snapchat and uses Snapchat? Well, it's very tightly. The demographic is tight towards the younger crowd. We're talking millennials. Looking at sort of the demographics, or the some stats on it, there's, on average, on a typical day, there's about 150 million people on Snapchat, which is almost as much or greater than amount of people that are on Twitter. So there is a heavy following on it, and some of the anecdotal feedback that you get from people that use Snapchat is that it's extremely addictive, in the sense they just can't get off of it. And so that's great, but the question is, so people are going to come back and use it, and use it, attracts people to it. But the question is, as they come back to it, are they going to buy things from it? Is the company monetizing this kind of behavior and this kind of phenomenon? And that leads to really the next question, which is, does this company make money? Just looking at the recent financials, and looking at the history of the company, this company has never made money. It's never been profitable. If you just look at 2016, they lost about $500 million. And if you just look at it in the last quarter here in 2017, they've lost literally like 443 million. They lost 2 billion at the quarter previous to that, and then 169 million after that. So this is not a profitable company. If we're going to look at the financial position and the financial strength of the company, they have right now in the bank about 2.3 billion in cash and no debt. So this is pretty much an equity finance business. So from that perspective, you think, oh, it's pretty strong. It's a pretty strong company financially. But when you look into the operating cash flow, on a cash flow basis, this company is just hemorrhaging cash. If you look at their operating cash flows, just in the last few quarters, they've burned through 364 million, 155 million, and 611 million in cash on the operations side of the business. When you look at the amount of investing, this company is just investing a ton right now. They just put recently, in the recent quarter, 1.7 billion in terms of investing outflows, a billion in the quarter before that, and 1.021 billion in the quarter before that. So here's a company that's not profitable, and is literally hemorrhaging cash, and is taking whatever cash it's got and it's investing it back into the business, but it's making significant capital investments into the business, but it's not generating any operating cash flow, and ultimately it's not generating any profits from that side of it. Now, what are the risks that Snapchat could face in how its business is going to go going forward? Well, the big thing that really just jumps out is, given the fact that that there are just so many different types of messaging services out there, the big thing really that jumps out is it's just the ease of entry into this space. It's literally like anybody can come in and create their own messaging service. And the really textbook example is Instagram has literally copied the entire usable functionality of Snapchat. If you took an Instagram user interface and the Snapchat interface, it's literally carbon copy. You wouldn't know which one is different. They look almost exactly the same. And so ease of entry is really a big concern with this business. So it just seems like anybody who has any element of computer savviness could come up and create their own messaging program that could do just as good a job as what Snapchat is offering. So that's a real risk factor that really anybody can get in. The barriers to entry are pretty low. Then the other issue is just this whole, like, how do you make money? How can you make money with this thing? It just clearly they haven't been able to make money. So how is this going to work? So there's some serious risks and serious clouds on the horizon here, or not on the horizon. They're here right now, that make this company look very suspect in the long term. Is this company going to be in business in long term as a result of their competitors just basically taking a lot of their functionality and bringing it into their own devices? So that's one aspect. Now, question we get here is despite all this, is the stock cheap? Well, we know this history of it. The company IPO'd earlier in the year and went as high as 27, and now it's just dropped down. It's now in the 13s range. And so from that perspective, yeah, the stock is cheap, but a lot of commentary that I'm hearing is that there's sort of, and it's a lot of people saying like it's kind of following the same path as what Facebook did. And if we remember, Facebook had IPO'd, and it had a rough IPO in the sense it went up, but then it went down really fast below its IPO price, and a lot of people thought the company was in trouble. But sure enough, the company developed a much more mobile focus, and then all of a sudden profits really came up, and the company is now IPO'd at the 20s, and now the stock is at about $170. So a lot of people are saying Facebook, Snapchat could follow the same kind of history. And from that perspective, you know what? It very much could. But if you look at it from a behavioral perspective, that kind of mentality and approach that we're hearing is really is really almost classic recency bias, just because basically looking at something that happened in the past and saying, you know what, I can extrapolate that's going to happen in the future. And so this stock kind of has a lot of people with that kind of sentiment right now. They're just kind of extrapolating what happened to Facebook and sort of bringing this in to Snapchat. So when I factor looking at all these questions about the company in terms of what they do, they got a ton of competition out there. Focus market in terms of millennials that really don't have a lot of purchasing power right now, but eventually could be. It's not profitable. It's got a decent financial position right now. It's got a lot of cash in the bank, but it is burning through cash like at a ridiculous rate. So if they keep doing what they're doing and are not going to generate any profits, this company is not going to be in business in a while. And the reality is they are selling a product that can be easily copied, and it is being copied. And there really is no set plan in terms of how this company is how they can monetize their program. And then right now, when you factor all these elements in, and I'm looking at the stock now in the 13s, but this element of this recency bias, when I put all these things together, I just have a really hard time wanting to get involved in this stock right now. So I would probably vote to not buy Snapchat. If I were going to do something, I would probably look at I would probably be more interested in looking at Facebook and Instagram because they have 2 billion users and they are actually monetizing. There's a lot of cash flow behind Facebook compared to Snapchat. So I would probably do a little bit of a deeper dive into Facebook and seeing if there is a better value creation opportunity for that stock compared to Snapchat.